And I know before you came into Bellship, you worked at Fearnleys with, purchase and sales. So obviously you have seen a lot of deals and know what a good shipping deal is. If you just go by the first principle first for people who are curious, what makes a good purchase and shipping, can you sort of explain the fundamentals when you look at deals and what exemplifies a good purchase when you're looking at ships?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'm not sure I have the precise answer. But to put it simply, you can, of course, to make a ship investment, you need financing and you need an operation, i.e., a cost base afterwards to compete on. If you're able to buy a ship in the lower part of the cycle, so if you're able to buy a ship cheaply, that can help you disguise bad financing or maybe even a too high cost base to run it. Oppositely, it's a bit difficult to escape. If you buy a ship way too expensively in the high part of the cycle, you're going to have to work very hard with financing and cost to disguise the fact that the ship was built or purchased a bit too expensively. So I think a starting point is many good shipping deals have been done on the basis of a holistic review on where the world economy or the shipping market is heading. I think for any shipping company, especially a ship owning company, I think one has to have a very solid, clear view of what is one's competitive advantage. And that can change from year to year, a period, and it might change several times in the future of any developing company. But to have a clear view of what is the competitive advantage. So, for example, to constitute a good shipping deal, I think that first and foremost, a view of where we are in the cycle. Not necessarily at the top or at the bottom, but you have to have some view and conviction towards which end you are.
Interesting. Have you been involved in some terrible deals that still give you nightmare, or have you been lucky to only be part of good deals?
No, I think in Belships we've been fortunate actually to have the market with us, and I'm happy to say that we've been set up in a way to survive more than one outcome. So actually, I take a bit of pride actually that we haven't had one sour ship investment deal, actually sale or purchase in Belships, which has ended up in a conflict. So I think that's also a point of learning from which is worth taking in shipping, is that you save a lot of money and grief by choosing your counterparts and trying to find transactions and contracts in a way that you avoid disputes actually. So I'm very happy that we've avoided that. During my shipping career, I've seen a few, but I've also, ever since I started in shipping, I think I've been a curious person. So whenever I met ship owners or investors, I've always been active to ask questions actually, to learn how are they doing their business, why are they doing it, and what is their thinking behind it. So I'm not sure they knew always, but I was kind of interviewing them for my own knowledge and experience. So a lot of what I've utilized in Belships is actually things which I've learned. And one sour deal in a way, but ended up a rather decent one, was with a client in Fearnleys, and this was early 2008. And he bought a very old Panamax bulk carrier, 25-year-old Panamax bulk carrier at the time. And obviously in hindsight, this was close to the peak of the market. And the purchase was done, I believe it was in May 2008. So it was actually right before the market burst and the financial crisis played out. And while we were negotiating the purchase of this ship, we found out that the current charter of the ship was interested to continue. And this Swedish ship owner, he asked me to investigate what they would pay to continue. And this was a very well-known, well-respected, reputable counterpart charter. So we established contact with them, and we investigated what they were willing to pay for a 2-year contract. At the same time, as it had, there was a market out there who was interested in these type of ships also for 2 years. And if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correct, there was one charter in the market who was willing to pay more than $60,000 for 2 years. And the existing charter was there to pay considerably less, maybe around $55,000. And I made the call to this ship owner and I presented them with the 2 alternatives. And he chose the bankable, highly reputed charter at the lower rate. And he made that decision in that phone call. And that ship was taken over in the middle of the financial crisis. It was chartered out for about $55,000 for 2 years from this great company. And they performed the contract for 2 years and redelivered the ship. And it was a fantastic relationship. And that contract almost compensated entirely for the fall in value of the vessel. And I think I took away a lot of learning from that transaction, actually. So both in terms of risk and judging alternatives, and also the greed, when the greed is there in the market where things are inflationary in all aspects. He was a very wise investor, that Swedish guy. And I'm happy to say I spoke with him not too long ago, actually. So
that's a fantastic story. It's almost like shipping in a nutshell, almost like.
It is. Consequential alternatives and choices.